What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You know, we're in the month of January right now, and it is black, dadgummit cold. It's just what it is. We're in the heart of winter. So, I know I'm a little bit late with doing this video, and don't mind the acoustics in this room. You know, it's dark. You know what I'm saying? OGM had a doctor's appointment today, so had to get all that taken care of. Be the good son. But with that being said, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 baits that I would choose right now in the heart of winter for the month of January. So let's get into it. January is one of those months where, you know, bass are pretty much where they're going to be all winter long, you know. And most times at that point, they're in the deep. They're in the deep. They're going to be down there. Some of them, you know what I'm saying, will be with their bellies in the mud and gunked in mud. It's just where they're going to be at. So there's a couple of things that I would do to reach them, or to try to trigger a reaction strike, you know what I'm saying, to kind of, you know, grab a hold to that core feed response that they have to chase, kind of like a dog chasing a car or a cat chasing a red light. They just have a predatory instinct to chase and feed that's just hardwired into them. So with that being said, the first bait that I will start off with, I'm going to go reaction, and then I would move on to most of the stuff feeding on the bottom. So the first thing would be the crankbait. As you can look at the color of it, it is more natural color because of the cold water. Cold water means clear water, so you want to lean more towards the natural baits. Now, later on, I would say probably the end of February, you'll start getting those pre-spawn rains and dingy and messed up water. That's for another time. But right now, in the heart of winter, you want more natural colors. So, speed cranking. Now, speed cranking kind of goes against everything cold water bass fishing. Most time in cold water bass fishing, you're think to slow down, slow drag a net rig, slow drag a shaky heads, slow drag a drop shot, jig, the whole 9. But it's just something about a crankbait that when it speeds past them in those depths, it sparks them, they will chase. It's just something about it. I haven't figured, well, I did, you know what I'm saying, it's like I said, it's just natural reaction to chase. Because the thing about it is, everything down there is moving slow anyway because of the water so cold. But to see that move that fast, they will chase. They will follow it. Number 2 on the list will be, and I haven't got this one rigged. I have not got this one rigged up, but an Alabama rig. This is the Flash Mob Junior. This is the Flash Mob Junior from Young. I've had great success on it. It's just something about in the wintertime, well, actually late fall or even in the fall also, all the way up into, I would say late pre-spawn, that a bait ball. It mimics a bait ball very well. And bass, that's just what they do. They like to feed on the bait balls because the bait balls actually kind of gather in a little bit tighter in the wintertime. Bass attack those bait balls, umbrella rig, and it sometimes will get you some of the biggest bites that you've seen all year long. Next on the list, and probably I would say one of the few baits that I just say it, the Mega Bass Oh my goodness. Mag Draft. Gosh dog. I can't believe I couldn't remember that. This one here is the 8-inch, but I more likely throw the 5-inch size. That's what I am more comfortable with. I haven't gotten myself to like fish the extremes. Well, yes, I have. I've learned to fish the extremes as far as finesse goes, but I just haven't like, took that step to actually get out there and throw big baits. I probably will do it, next year, well, in a year, when I can get up the nerve to do it. But it's just something about big baits that, I have not really been comfortable with yet. But I'll get there. But swim bait, mag draft, you gotta love it. Then, on the other side of things, but on knock this rod down, strolling. Well, you can tell I've been actually using this. Take this piece of grass off of it, but smaller swim baits on the other end of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? You can use this to swim it, or you can stroll it. Works both ways. It's more of a finesse profile, a finesse presentation, and you fire this thing out there, let it sink down to the bottom, and you slow reel it back the same way you would do the mag draft, and you will be surprised. You know what I'm saying? They will follow. The only difference between the smaller size bait and the bigger mag draft, even the 5-inch size, is that the bigger will actually call from a longer distance away. They will call more fish from farther away than the smaller swim bait. I kind of look at it as, would you waste your time for, a bite of food, or would you actually prefer the whole plate? So for me, the mag draft, even the 5-inch size, would be the whole plate versus just a bite of food. Next on the list would be a blade bait. Let's see if you can see it like that. A blade bait. A blade bait is the best of both. It's the best of two worlds, really. You can swim it like a lipless, but you can also hop it off the bottom and bottom fish it. And most of the time in this time of year, that's what I'm doing. I'm hopping it off the bottom. Excuse me. You don't have to hop it far. You know what I'm saying? Just enough to feel that bait vibrate 3 or 4 times, let it fall. Lift up. The way I look at it, if you lift from 10 to 11 o'clock, just enough to get that bait to vibrate, fall, vibrate, fall. You're golden. Let me back up a little bit. The strolling finesse, I would fish that up against bluff walls. That's where I would do it. The mag draft, I would run that right in the center of ditches. So would the umbrella rig, atop of humps, the crankbait, mostly on humps, also ditches. Most of the places that you would fish all the stuff anyway, because that's where the bass are at. You know what I'm saying? Down bluff walls, humps, ditches, basically in the holes of the bottom of the lake or pond, and current breaks of the river system that you're fishing. But last but not least, and oldie but goldie, and probably the color that I would use majority of the time outside of a green pumpkin would be the jig. This is the 3/4 ounce. Let me make sure. No, this is a 3/8 ounce jig. It's 3/8 ounce jig, and the color is PB&J. PB&J. Most time I would use that color this time of year. because it's something about cold water and purple. I don't understand it. It just works, and you get some big bites on it. It's about like red in the pre-spawn. I don't understand how it works, but it does. So pair this up with a green pumpkin, well, like a matte finish green pumpkin, or well, I'll put it in another video, little tips and tricks to get more bites on your jig if they're short striking or if they're just grabbing the tail. Those are my top 5 for the month of January. And really, if you want to look at it, besides one change, that would be the top 5 for December also. Now, one thing that I'm going to add into it would be a tailspin. A tailspin, and you would fish it like you would do the blade bait. You know, same instance, but you could actually, instead of hopping it off the bottom to do your retrieves, you would retrieve with your reel. So you would reel until you feel a couple of thumps and stop it. That's the only difference of that. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys when I go crappie fishing, cause you know it's just too cold right now, and we got another winter storm coming up. But other than that, I'll let you.